The cosmos trembled, not from the birth of a new star, nor from the collision of galaxies, but from a conflict that transcended the fabric of existence itself. This was not a battle for dominion, not a petty struggle for power. It was a reckoning, a trial in which the fate of multiversal justice would be decided. At the heart of the Omniverse, beyond mortal comprehension, lay the nexus of balance, a domain where the raw forces of creation and destruction intersected in perfect harmony. It was here that the Living Tribunal, the absolute arbitrator of cosmic law, sat upon his throne of golden radiance, his very presence a testament to the laws that bound all realities. With three faces, equity, vengeance, and necessity, he judged without bias, ensuring that no force, no being, no god could tip the scales beyond repair. But now something approached. A rift split through the fabric of the nexus, swirling with a green fire that crackled with divine fury. It was not the arrival of an invading force, nor the emergence of an aberration. It was the coming of judgment. From the rift stepped forth the spectre, his very form shifting between incorporeal shadow and blinding celestial wrath. Cloaked in emerald energy, his visage bore neither warmth nor mercy. For he was not a being of balance, he was the executioner of absolute justice. His voice, layered with echoes of divine decree, shattered the silence of the nexus. The balance is broken, Tribunal. The words did not merely resonate. They carried the weight of every injustice, every unpunished sin, every crime overlooked in the infinite cosmos. Spectre's presence was not a mere anomaly here. It was a declaration, a demand that even the Living Tribunal could not ignore. The Tribunal's golden eyes burned with unshaken authority as he slowly turned his threefold gaze upon the intruder. You speak of imbalance, yet you yourself are vengeance unchecked. His voice is intoned in perfect harmony. The presence has granted you power, but your justice is not justice. It is retribution without order. I exist to ensure that the scales do not tip too far into chaos or tyranny. Your arrival here is not only misguided, it is dangerous. Spectre took a step forward, the void itself recoiling from his presence. You call me dangerous, Tribunal. I have seen the horrors that thrive under your watchful eyes. Worlds consumed by darkness while you stand idle. Gods that mock justice because your law permits them to exist. You claim to be the balance, yet in your silence, you have allowed the wicked to prosper and the innocent to suffer. The Tribunal's three faces remained impassive, though something deeper stirred within his divine presence. You speak as if you understand the weight of my burden. I do not act out of apathy, Spectre. I act because I must. Justice without balance is tyranny. If I were to smite every being you deem unworthy, there would be nothing left of the multiverse but ashes. Your vision is limited, bound by vengeance, while I see eternity unfold. Spectre's green energy flared violently, rippling across the infinite void. Then answer me this. Tribunal, how many souls cry out for justice while you remain silent? How many villains have evaded judgment because you deemed them necessary for balance? A pause. A vast, suffocating silence filled the nexus. The Tribunal finally spoke, his voices carrying the wisdom of endless eons. What you fail to see, Spectre, is that existence is not meant to be fair. It is meant to be preserved. To interfere beyond what is required is to disrupt what must be. You have always been the hammer of judgment, but I am the scale that ensures the hammer does not fall blindly. Spectre's glowing eyes narrowed. Then I will break the scale and forge a new one in its place. The Tribunal slowly stood from his throne, his golden robes flowing like the fabric of creation itself. Then you leave me no choice. With a single motion, the Living Tribunal raised his hand, and reality itself responded. The very laws of existence, time, space, life, and death began to swirl around him, manifesting as celestial glyphs of absolute authority. James Corrigan, the Tribunal's threefold voices boomed. You have overstepped your domain. You were made to execute judgment, but now you challenge the very foundation of balance itself. You will stand trial before the Omniverse. Spectre clenched his fists, his aura pulsating with divine wrath. No, Tribunal. It is you who stands trial today. I am the Presence's wrath incarnate, and today I pass judgment upon you. With a mighty step forward, the Spectre unleashed a tidal wave of green divine fury, his form expanding into an endless titan of vengeance. Larger than galaxies, his cloak engulfing the void. The Living Tribunal did not move. He merely extended his golden hand, and the very fabric of the Omniverse bent to his will. Reality itself screamed as two cosmic forces, each wielding power beyond comprehension, prepared to clash. The fate of all things trembled in their wake. The battle had begun.
Are you just watching?
Subscribe, please.
The first blow was not a mere strike, it was a cosmic decree. The Spectre, an entity of divine wrath, unshackled his full power, his emerald fire stretching beyond the boundaries of time and space. His form expanded until he was as vast as the multiverse itself, his cloak unfurling like an endless storm of judgment. The Living Tribunal stood unmoved. His three faces, equity, vengeance, and necessity, remained still. But his golden form pulsed with the weight of infinite authority. Your justice is righteous, Spectre, but it is blind. You seek retribution, yet you do not understand what it means to maintain balance. With a mere flick of his wrist, Tribunal's power surged forth, not as destruction but as absolute command. Laws of existence twisted at his will, cause and effect reversed. Time shattered and reformed in an instant. The Spectre, for all his divine might, felt himself being restructured, as though reality itself refused his very presence. Be still, Tribunal decreed, and the Spectre found himself paralyzed. His power, infinite to mortals, was now merely a flickering ember before the Living Tribunal's judgment. But the Spectre was no ordinary force. He was divine wrath incarnate. His body cracked apart, yet from those fractures, new versions of himself emerged, splitting into endless copies, each one representing a different era of vengeance. The wrath of the Old Testament, the avenger of the New Age, the phantom judge of forgotten realms, all of them surged forward at once, their collective will set on the Tribunal's destruction. The Living Tribunal did not flinch. You exist because the Presence wills it. I exist because reality demands it, he spoke, and with that he raised his hand. Suddenly, the countless forms of the Spectre collapsed inward, a force greater than mere divine power, greater than vengeance itself began to unravel him. Tribunal was not merely resisting, he was rewriting the Spectre's existence. You are the sword of justice, yet justice cannot exist without the scale. The Presence created you, but it is I who determines whether you are necessary. And today, Spectre, I judge you unworthy. The Spectre screamed, not in fear but in defiance. His emerald fire burned brighter than ever before, refusing to be extinguished. But Tribunal's will was law, and law could not be broken. The Spectre's form, once infinite, began to diminish. The omniversal echoes of his power faded one by one. His divine fire flickered, then waned, then extinguished. In his final moments, before his essence was cast into the void of unbeing, he whispered one final decree. I am vengeance. I will return. The Tribunal did not respond. He simply turned away, his golden form radiating with unwavering authority. The battle was over. The Spectre, the very wrath of the Presence, had been judged and erased. Balance had been restored.